And the problem is, and that's one of the challenges with mental illness. I know in my family we had, I had a loved one who I was really close to growing up. I had a sibling, and when we got to a certain age, we was like this. When we got to a certain age, I started seeing behavior, and I was like, oh, this is like, what's wrong with them? What's going on with you?
My man tripping.
Yeah, and then it got to the point where, no, I don't rock with him. I can't deal with bro. Then it got to the point where it's like, man, till we were adults, we were in our 30s, and somebody stopped me and said, hey, you know he's bipolar schizophrenic. And it was one of the hardest moments for me, because this was somebody who I know had my back. I know they always had my back. But in the moment, because of our unwillingness to have the conversation about it, because of our willingness to say, no, this is about you doing something wrong. They're doing something wrong. Not being able to recognize the signs. I didn't help them. I turned my back on them because they were sick.
Now, that definitely rushed me to like a lot of friends that we've lost, especially as men. We'll lose. In our mind, it's like, we get into the business, especially me and stuff like that. It's been close homies. Yeah. That I ain't caught up with. But even in you saying that, how do men even create, like, how do these healing circles work to create a space where, because that's the other onus and pressure that we have, like our masculine facade of not wanting to show this vulnerability of being who we are. Like sometimes just having a friend to speak things out, especially for me, I think through conversations. So like I need that. And I'm sure others need it too. But like, how do you create that space of men? Because we can be so guarded.
We can be guarded. We have egos. We have, I think you start by it like with anything. You show up. You come as you are. And, hopefully you have, because once we get to the point where we recognize, because just the event is something that came from conversations. Now, when we started to piece together what we wanted this event to be, we realized like, oh, okay, there are some people doing this work. I found out that the Sausage Center, they do a men's healing circle. The group out in Philly, they doing a men's healing circle.
King Wise is a part of Omari.
King Wise. Omari King Wise he was working with the Sausage Center right now. He's taking a break. Shout out to that brother, who definitely has been like a mentor in the learning to build these spaces for men, and letting, because it's a journey. We're talking about a journey, right? We're talking about, because my grandfather was the way he was. He wasn't like, he didn't make a choice to be that way. He needed to be that way in order to survive at the time in which he existed as a man. He had to really endure some things. My father and I started saying I love you to each other when I was in my 30s. My father was in his 50s or so. I started saying I love you to my boys, now. Some of my sons are teens. My son is 22. My youngest son is 3. Same thing with my homeboys, right? If I'm in a real good space with a brother, I'll end the conversation with "I love you." Now, the brother don't always say it back. Sometimes it's that pause,
it's like weird. It's like what's going on?
But I recognize.
It's like, he about to ask for some money.
Nah, yeah. Sometimes I'm gonna do that. I might lead with that, but the fact of the matter is we have to. I think it just has to be a conscious decision. And that's why I brought up the controlling the narrative. We have to control the narrative with our own individual self. Yeah. A lot of these things we look at, we express the negative. So, if you have any understanding how law of attraction works, we are constantly reinforcing these things. So even when we speak about the event, we want to talk about mental wellness. Yes, there's a mental health issue in the community, but part of the event is crisis, right? Part of the event is saying, hey, it's 3:00 in the morning and my son is banging on my front window trying to get in the house. I don't want to call the police on him. I know he needs help. What do I do? So we're going to have those institutions, Henry Ford Health Systems. We're going to get somebody from DHS there. We're going to have the mental health facilities there to say, this is what you do in that situation. But the bigger part of the event is we're dealing in prevention. We're dealing in lifestyle. We understand that these negative things exist in our environment. So so for me, I get up every day 5 to 7. And the reason I get up every day 5 to 7, I don't know if I mentioned this yet, I got 11 kids. So they coming on my door at 7 o'clock no matter what. I work at a school. I work with children who are, somewhat challenging. And, I work in an environment that's challenging because it's sometimes it's hard trying to free black kids inside of the education system. So I know that after 7 o'clock, the world is going to start taking. It's going to start taking. So 5 to 7 is my time just to do either nothing, listen to music, because I know one of my mentors taught me is you have to make sure that you show up every day with a full tank, because they're going to take one, whether you show up with one or not. They're going to take, the day is, especially if you're doing something where you are involved with other people and sometimes dealing with their emotions, the world's going to take a full day. So you have to have habits. It could be your diet. You know what I'm saying? We know that an unhealthy diet contributes to mental illness. It could be the people you have around me. Let me develop some boundaries around me so that, because a lot of times,